Recently, the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors said that its membership sees the weakest house price outlook since the Brexit vote, and the number of properties on estate agents' books are near record lows. Ian Springett is CEO of onthemarket.com, the property search website. In the RICS quotes Brexit, but there appears to me to be an awful lot more going on in the sector. Brexit is just possibly one part of it. Do you agree?
I do agree with you, yes. There's been quite a major structural change going on in the owner-occupied sector over the recent years, starting with a straightforward reduction in owner occupation from 71% in 2003 down to 63% by 2013. Stayed stable since then, but what you're also seeing is a shift in the demographic towards more fully formed families and older people in owner occupation who tend to move house less. So I think there is that shift which is not necessarily apparent to everybody operating in the market. And there has been obviously some choppy water over recent years. So the crash, of course, took volumes from a pre-crash high of 150,000 per month down to 70,000 a month for a period. Now they recovered and they've been at 100,000 a month for some considerable time now. We have, in the last couple of months, seen transactions dip a little bit, but it is not a major dip down in the way that some commentators are describing it.
But to be fair, some of this has been driven, hasn't it, by central government, because they're wanting banks to limit the number of times you can borrow money and so forth against your salary. And of course, we know as consumers we're so much more burdened with debt, which I guess is all part of the issue. Affordability issue, I mean, that has got to be a major part of this, hasn't it? The fact that these young people coming on need salaries of 100,000 plus in order to get the deposit and the size of what's needed in order to be able to get the mortgage they need to buy a house.
Well, I think that's true, and I'm agreeing with your analysis there, but I would add to it also changes in pension legislation, which have meant that people have taken their pots and invested them into the buy-to-let sector. So that has all contributed to a shift in the way that people live in this country, and a great deal more activity in the private rented sector.
As far as you're concerned, onthemarket.com, are you seeing any shift in your business because of this record low number of houses on properties for agents? I mean, that must be a big impact.
It's a modest impact, actually. We don't see anything quite as radical as is suggested by what the RICS is saying at this point. In certain parts of the country, it's clear that there is a bigger impact of Brexit and to some extent the stamp duty changes that came in at the end of 2014. And I'm thinking particularly of higher priced property everywhere, but obviously concentrated in prime central London. But across the country, people still have to upsize, downsize, change job, move for whatever general life reasons they have. And so, if you talk to our network of agents more broadly, it's really not all doom and gloom. And Brexit is not quite the factor away from London that it might be perceived as here.
One final question. What would you like to see the Chancellor do in the budget which would stir things up and get the volumes going again in the market?
Well, I do think it depends on what the government wants to achieve. But for my own taste, I think steady as she goes is a good thing. I think that an unstable market or something that stimulated another housing boom would not be healthy for anybody at this point. And I suspect the government is thinking that housing should really be about a place to live as opposed to a place where you make more money in a year than you do earning your living. So I would be surprised to see the government do very much at all.
OK, look, Ian, we've got to leave it there, but thanks for joining us.
That's a pleasure.
Ian Springett, Chief Executive of onthemarket.com, ahead of the budget, which we're looking ahead to, and interesting to see what the Chancellor comes up with as to whether or not he wants to stir the housing market back into activity.